Hey guys, Bihama here. My apologies, I'm running late. For some reason, when I turned my laptop, getting it ready, I couldn't get connection. So I had to restart and set up. But finally I'm on. So my apologies. Today is Sunday, as we all know. Every Sunday we read from 12 o'clock to 12:30, and it's an initiative I took, particularly keeping in mind that or knowing that not everybody or everyone is able to buy the book, but at the same time too, I just wanted to share a little bit of about my book and what's in it, and hopefully we all enjoy it. But before we begin today, we are going to read story number 2, which is more on the passengers' behavior. So, how actually riders behaved when they were in the car, or how do they behave when they come in the car. So, I'm going to share 3 different stories of different things that happened, particularly, especially to me, when I was driving. But before we begins, I always just want to share, the book. So if you go to Amazon or my website www.bihama.com, you will see an image like this. Just click on it, and you will be able to find the book. So also it's in 2 format as we speak, which is a paperback, which is like this. Then there is also an ebook, and the audiobook. I'm sure some of us don't like to read. The audiobook is still under review, but I'm hopeful that by in a week or 2 it should be also available. But once it becomes available, I will let you guys know. Then another house cleaning. So if please you are watching this video for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. That's another way to support my effort. And sharing or share the video, or like. So whatever you do here, it goes a long way. So even if you don't have the ability to buy the book, but that will make a big difference in how the book is known. Then also to remember, for those of you who speak in Rwanda, there is a lot in store every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 9:30 p.m. in Kigali, Bujumbura, and 10:30 p.m. Kampala and Nairobi, or in Tanzania. So we also do talk about business. So how do you start a business? It is in that section, I share the tips and skills of starting a business, just sharing my own journey from how I started to the time to today, where building a company with my friends or slash mentors. So that is usually on Saturday. Monday, every Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I also, if I receive questions, I usually come on here to answer question about the book. So if you have a question or any other question in general that you would like to share, then you can send it to me, or you can put it down in a comment, and I will always be able to answer it. So with that, I think that was the in-house cleaning. I don't think there's anything I forgot. So again, if you are here for the first time, please hit the subscribe button. So now let's go ahead and read. Today we are on page 9, and the title is Sympathy with Riders' Errors. So as last time I tried to read, but maybe let me read. It's not a lot, but so let me just read. I will give a snapshot as I go along. So the sad reality is that I want rider to get to their destination on time. However, I cannot break the rules. Here, as I'm going to share, I think the three examples. When we all have somewhere we are going, when you get a ride, or when you request an Uber or a Lyft, or even when you request a lift from somebody, you definitely this person goal is to get you to where you are going. However, you very important very important to note is you also have to think about the timing, think about unknowns, think about circumstances. And so when majority of people that I gave rides, they just seem to be unprepared. So by breaking the rules, I mean, sometimes somebody will come in the car and they want to go to San Francisco airport, for example. So from where I am right now to the San Francisco airport, it's about it's about 40-45 miles. So if you want to get there, you definitely need at least minimum an hour to get there. So I used to get rides from people who want to be at the airport within 30 minutes. That's definitely not possible because in I can make it in 30 minutes. It's true. But that means I have to drive minimum 90 miles per hour. So that's 25 miles above the speed limit. So usually they say when they catch you on that one, you just go to jail. There is no question about that, and you might even lose your driving privileges. But people will still tell you, "Hey, don't worry about it. Just drive as fast as you can," because to them, the lack of planning and the lack of thinking about me, the driver, because really the past also another thing that I learned, people were extremely concerned about their lives. So, oh yeah, why are you driving unsafe? But they are forgetting something very important. So number one, it's my car. So and it's me too, I'm in the car. So most likely, the first person to get hurt will be me, and the first person to lose will be me. So if we have an accident, you might get injured, but I get not only injured twice, once. I get injured twice because I will lose the car, and I might even end up losing myself. So the point is, when a driver is on the road driving, just try to be kind. Know that he has the best interest in his or her heart. Because in the end of the day, when something goes wrong, he's the one to lose more than actually you who is seated in the car. So let's just keep reading. Uh, no, so I cannot break the rule. Sometimes I warn them that speed kills, and if they insist, I drove faster, of course. So sometimes I will tell them, hey, speed kills. But they go, no, 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 it's okay. Don't worry. I'm not gonna give you a bad rating. And they will, we will just drive. But I personally never cross. Every time somebody is in my car, I think the fastest, don't tell the police, okay? The fastest I've ever, oh, by the way, I'm just kidding. Uh, the fastest I have ever driven, no, not the entire trip, but if there's no traffic, was 85 miles per hour. So, really, frankly, whether the police is there or not, whether there is traffic or not, I don't think, I just believe 85 is just too high, too fast when you have somebody in the car. You can do it if you're on your own, but I'm not encouraging anyone to go and do it. But it's definitely not a good idea. So it is a custom that I welcome rider, have them seated, then start driving. In most cases, passenger want to chat, which is good. Just like you go to a shopping or you go to visit people, if you are with somebody in the car, It's normal just to have a conversation. However, often ride cross the line. For example, one day I had a female passenger. When she came in, I welcomed her and I started driving. The next thing she said was, "Wow, I like your eyelashes. Oh, they are perfect. I wish I had them." What can you say? If somebody comes, sit in the car, looked at you, you just say hi, she said hi, and she simply say, "Oh, you have a beautiful eyelashes." On top of that, she's a woman or she's a girl. What do you say? So, continuing, I respectfully said thank you. A short silence ensued, and again she asked why I looked so fit. I said that I exercise a lot. From there, she asked me if I get time to if I get time to hang out and have a girlfriend. By our work standard, I should not have this kind of conversation in any way for any reason. However, a rider is asking this case, so my response was to say thank you and pretend I did not hear her. She went silent until I dropped her off. So this is one of the most difficult and challenging scenarios when you are walking, because when somebody is in the car, especially like if it's a woman, a lot can go wrong. I mean, a lot can go wrong. I am sure you have had video, complaint in court on CNN or Fox News or other news outlets, newspapers and TV, radio stations or TV, where they are saying an Uber driver attempted to rape or attempted to touch or raped somebody. So that's how it all begins. Because when you're with one person in the car, it's just you and her. And so no matter who started the conversation, things can escalate so fast. And more important to note is there is no camera in the car. There is no recorder in the car. So it's just you and her. So also more importantly, it's like when you go in court and it's just a one-on-one. It's like, two people were in the room. So really, what ends up happening is whoever complains first is the winner because it's just your word against his. And how do you solve such kind of scenarios? You guess it. So the point here is, uh, a lot can go wrong. So which is why when this woman asked me if I had a girlfriend and I looked fit, I just didn't feel it was necessary for me to answer, because the moment I started answering, we start talking about girlfriend, boyfriend, maybe even eventually a date, and will come around. And if something goes wrong, maybe if I say something and she get upset, she just post, "Hey, somebody, an Uber driver just asked me for to be a girlfriend." So that's the we are in America. That's the number one thing you really don't want when somebody is complaining of sexual harassment. So that's why I pretended that I didn't hear anything. But I'm not saying that that's how you should handle it. If circumstances are different and conditions are different, so you just need to be careful in answering or responding. You can also try to distract, the person who is talking, so you don't necessarily have to ignore. So let's continue a little bit. In the evening, she commented that I was rude. I did not get a chance to explain what happened. What happened? I got notified of the complaint. That is how it works with Lyft. So, like I said, it's just my word against her. So after that she just made a comment that I was rude because I didn't want to talk to her. But like I said, it's unethical, first of all, for us to talk about stuff like that when we are working. Just like when you at your job, you can if your coworker comes and say, "Hey, you are handsome. Do you have a girlfriend?" I am sure that's a conversation you're not gonna start right now. There, you would just say, "Hey, let's just stop." So personally, I treated driving just like a job. So it's a serious job. I make a living from there. So I have to be serious. But by the way, I read another book of an Uber driver somewhere in the East Coast. I think where she talks about how, she would talk about it, and eventually after driving she would go hang out with them. So, but everybody's experience is different. But my experience is, I just want to make sure I do the right thing. So let's continue. And also the other thing I have to say, these ride sharing companies also are kind of like unfair, particularly when a rider complain. Usually they just send you a comment. They never say what happened. But I noticed recently they're now saying, somebody made a bad comment. What do you have to say? But personally, I think they should actually, they must put either a recorder and have the riders either in the app. I work with technology now, so you can put in either a voice recorder, maybe not a video, but a voice recorder, so you can actually be able to hear what's going on. Otherwise, you will continue seeing Uber drivers get in trouble here and there. So the question is, as a driver, am I supposed to be respectful and courteous? Okay, sorry. The question is that as a driver, I'm supposed to be respectful and courteous with every single rider coming my way, regardless of their race, ethnicity, political affiliation, or opinion. Thus, it is difficult to strike a balance between being polite and not, which just doesn't that which makes sense. So I when people come in the car, uh, you have to interact. It's not a must, but if they initiate it, you have to respond, to be responsive. However, be careful in the type of conversation, because that's where most drivers get in trouble. So, and I would advise any driver out there to be mindful of that. Ensure that when you are driving and a conversation like that comes up, just be prepared to even shut it, because it's better to to get a 2 star than be in the news that you talk to somebody about sex in the car. So just my advice. So let's continue. I have another example. One afternoon, I received a ride request from a man heading to San Francisco from Los Altos. Like most rider, he asked if I was driving full time or if I had a second job. Before my answer has always been yes, but now I was part time. Other riders ask me what I do when I'm not driving. This rider asked me the same thing again and where I came from. I replied that I was from Rwanda. He wondered what else I do beside drive. And I told him that I founded a nonprofit organization that support talented refugees youth from around the world. He asked me why, and I told him that I believe that the answer to refugees was not to resettle them, since many of the refugees don't end up resettled. The focus should be on empowerment. I explained a little more about my business. A person I happen to know, I said, told me that a friend who could help me set up a company that I had been working on for a long time. When my friend called, he was in Arizona. His friend just happened to be around and had a day to spare and wanted to help. At the time, I was in San Rafael. I dropped the rider in my car and opened the web browser on my phone, and the ticket for him was purchased. I had spoken to my friend about my idea. They are both engineers, and for them to be able to help, they needed to do it on their schedule, which meant I had no choice but to be flexible. The point here is that they did not have to change their plans because I could. So I agreed, and whenever they called me, I would close the app and leave with my laptop and notebook. It seemed to resonate with my rider. Then he started asking me political questions like what I thought of the president and his immigration policy. Where we started talking about the good and the bad for the war, and how his policy on immigration could be better if appropriately executed. He sounded very much in support of the president and his policies. The discussion continued during the long ride. At the end of it, he mentioned that he had never met an African American or a black for that matter who thought the way I do. The conversation went well, but as I mentioned above, it is not ethical for driver to talk politics while working. Just like you can talk politics at work. So your job is to go work and go home. So talking about politics, the chances are just try it. You will see the response. So the same goes here. Sometimes riders think that because you're driving, it's just driving. They can say whatever they want, but I can tell you that people like me who were serious, who knew what they were after, definitely took that job seriously. So there were red line that we can just cross. So continuing reading. So in any case, it was my mistake to agree on the conversation. Should I have chosen to remain silent, then I would most likely have gotten a bad rating or a comment, which would have resulted in a message from Uber reprimanding me. So basically, if I would have just ignored him and not talk about politics, most likely he would have said that maybe I was rude or maybe I didn't want to talk, and that would have made Uber send me a warning. However, as you can hear in the conversation, nowhere I ever said I supported the president. I just said, hey, there are things he does that I think are right, but there are also things that I think they are not right. So, and therefore, I'm just in the middle. So there is no way he can conclude that I actually was in support. So, like I said, every situation is different. So therefore, respond accordingly or respond based on circumstances, but ensuring that you don't show where you stand, because you might go Republican when they are you might go Democrat when they are Republican, and you will definitely get a bad experience. So the best thing is you can talk about anything, but just ensure that you don't get to let them know where you stand. So one another last example. Another example was a day when I gave a ride to a lady from Boston who worked at Facebook. She was at the IKEA store in East Palo Alto. I picked her up and we started chatting. She complimented me on my look and fitness. I thanked her. However, the conversation did not stop there. She asked me if I was from Palo Alto. No, I lived in San Jose. Do you like the Bay Area? I asked. She responded that people were selfish and she felt depressed because no one talked to her. I reminded her that we are all important, even though it may not seem so in the eyes of the others. But it does not mean we are not valued. She asked me what I like to do for fun. I hesitated to tell her because I was starting to feel like the chat was heading into the forbidden territory, which is talking about love and relationship. She asked me if I ever hang out around Palo Alto. I responded that I do not come to Palo Alto except to drop people off. By that time, I had arrived at her place. It was sprinkling a little, and so I helped unload her stuff, put them in front of her apartment, then drove off to wait for the next rider. If I had not been working, that conversation would have ended differently. Possibly a date, why not? Or an exchange of phone number, but because I was working and taking my job seriously, I did not go to the other side of the conversation. The point here is that while the driver is busy driving and the rider is in the back or the front seat, conversation happen. So the question becomes, when is it an error? When a driver brings a topic up or when a rider brings it up? Or both? It's just a question I'm asking. So if I bring the conversation, a rider might end up complaining. If the rider brings up the conversation, do I have to respond or should I respond? But if I do respond, what if the rider complains again, or what if I feel uncomfortable and complain? Or should both people raise issues and talk? So I will just leave it to anyone to make a conclusion. So this the last story, as you can tell, the ride I was giving, I gave it to a girl who is my age. So pretty much I could tell. Maybe I was even older than her. She's complimenting me that I was handsome, that I was nice. So basically, those indicators that shows that she liked me, or maybe I was a nice person to her. But because I took my job seriously, I didn't want to go that way. Because if I was to go there and she might say, hey, I said something and this guy misunderstood, and now he talked about this relationship, and then I might end up in trouble. So, again, my advice to drivers, please, when don't start it, don't start it. That's number one. Number two, if the rider started, you have two options. You can respond, but ensure you are neutral. Never ever on any side. Just be neutral. Three, when if you see the conversation is deemed not safe, for example, things that related to like relationship or sex or politics, just it's better you just stay quiet. Just stay quiet. Yes, they will mark you that you are arrogant, or maybe they will even put a bad comment, they will even give you a bad rating. But trust me, it's better you get a 3 star than get caught by the FBI or the detectives at your city's police department. So that's just as simple as that. You don't want to be in the newspaper or on TV that you were talking stuff or you try to do this. So recently there was a driver um, who I saw I read in the news on CNN. They were talking about. By the way, so the reading is done. So I'm just sharing more to enlighten drivers. So when I saw this guy is from Uganda, and he just came to America and he was driving. He was driving on the freeway, and this woman jumped out of the free, basically told him to pull over. The woman opened the car and dialed 911, and 911 came and she was on the freeway. The guy is I can't I didn't follow up how the story ends, but the guy is now being charged for to attempt to rape. Or I don't know if I think it's attempt rape. So the point here, when I followed up, I when I read the side of the story, or the driver side of the story, it was that uh, the woman was smoking weed or is drugs. So in the car. And by the way, I have had teenagers or younger people, even adults, asking me, "Hey, can I smoke? Can I vape? Can I drink?" And usually to me, those are a no. So even bringing in an open bottle or an open can or a cup, I am very strict when it comes to stuff like that. But I say no. So what the driver said was, "Hey, the woman asked me was smoking, and I told her not to smoke in my car, but the woman refused. So I pulled over to ask her to get out, which is totally acceptable to drivers, by the way. So, which means you riders just try to be kind, because the driver is there to, you are helping each other. You are paying him to drop you, but he's also doing it voluntarily. So, anytime he wants, he can just pull over and tell you, get out. So that's where the trouble of this guy came. Because when he slowed down to force her out or to tell her to go out, the woman called 911 that he tried to rape her. So I didn't follow up how the story ends, but I'm just telling you how dangerous this thing can be. Therefore, my best advice to any driver anywhere, I will repeat again, it's better you get a 2 star than be in the news. Last one, last three, or last point. If a rider resist, the best you can do, don't leave them on the freeway. I have picked up people on the freeway. Don't leave them on the freeway. One, is dangerous to them. No pedestrian allowed on the freeway. Even if you are so angry, even if you're so upset. One, if it's daytime, exit the nearest exit, get on the street off the freeway, just tell them get out. Most likely they will. But also ensure somebody is watching. Somebody is watching. If it's nighttime, same idea. Ensure that you exit, but go where you know either somebody is, where sometimes they are homeless somewhere they can see, or go to a place where there is a camera. A gas station will be the most ideal. A shopping mall parking will be ideal. Yes, the person will make noise, the rider will complain, but the camera will save the day. So I think I can stop there. So that's the some of the behaviors um, of of some of the riders the ride I gave. But of course there are many more. Some other people would ask me about my family. Some other people would want to know why I'm in America. Some others would want me to sit and tell them the story of how I ended up here. Some people would want me to explain how I do things. So people will always ask an unnecessary or the information that they shouldn't ask. However, like I said, beside those the rider getting forcing them out, just be neutral. I will repeat again. So that's the only way you will stay out of a newspaper, or else just try it. You will come and tell me. So with that, again, if you are watching this video for the first time, please hit subscribe button or hit like or share. All that goes a long way. Thank you and have a good day. Bye bye.